Hey there, podcast lovers. Looking for a fresh take on the world? Tune into Nikki's World, where we dive into everything hitting the headlines and chat about just what's on our minds. No filters, just real talk. Whether you're sipping your morning coffee or unwinding after a long day, Nikki's World is your go-to for genuine commentary on the real world. Subscribe now if you want to hear the real deal on what's going on. Join the conversation on Nikki's World, where every episode feels like catching up with an old friend. Don't miss out.
What's up, y'all? Let's do this.
Oh, hi guys. Welcome to Nikki's World. I'm Nikki, your host, and today, guys, we're going to talk about why Gen X is a big threat to the Democrats into the midterm elections this year. But we're going to talk about that and so much more. But before we go any further, guys, if you guys love Nikki's World so much, seriously, y'all, can y'all please consider donating a cup of coffee for me? Because for a price of a cup of coffee at Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, and Cumberland Farms, guys, you guys help keep this podcast show alive. You guys help me curate more stories, more topics like this to talk about. I do accept Bitcoin donations. I am on Ko-fi, guys. If you guys want to support, sponsor, donate, and commission me for a modeling photo shoot, if you guys love Nikki's World so much, seriously, y'all, please hit that like, subscribe, please give me a review, good, bad, and the ugly. Also, guys, I do have a bunch of affiliate links. First off is Minds.com. Minds.com is a Connecticut-based social media platform. They are an awesome alternative to Facebook. So if you guys value your right to freedom of speech like I do, and the right to speak freely without fear of being blocked, suspended, or deplatformed, well then, ladies and gentlemen, head on over to minds.com. Also, guys, I do have the most awesome affiliate link with Burner. Burner is a less lethal self-defense company, guys. They make their top-of-the-line Burner SD, Burner LE, TCR, Mission 4, and their newest, guys, their compact launcher. So if you guys value your right to the Second Amendment, your right to self-defense, but you guys want to do it in a less lethal manner, well then, ladies and gentlemen, head on over to my friends at burner.com and they will make sure that when the time comes, you are prepared to defend. And full disclaimer, ladies and gentlemen, I own a Burner LE pistol myself. And finally, guys, I have this awesome referral with North Shore Medical Supply. North Shore Medical Supply, they make their top-of-the-line North Shore Megamax diaper, their North Shore Eternal Boosters, and their North Shore Supreme diapers. So if you know somebody out there that needs to wear adult diapers, that needs to be put in adult diapers like I am, guys, Well then, send them on over to my friends at North Shore Medical Supply, and they will make sure that they are diapered up and padded up as always. And before we get this show on the road, literally, guys, if you guys love this episode and any of my other episodes on Nikki's World, seriously, y'all, can y'all please consider sharing this across all the social media platforms that are out there today? That was a mouthful. That was really a mouthful. And yes, guys, I am diapered up as always. I am in my North Shore Megamax diapers with my Eterna boosters and my onesies from Little Comforts. So I'm diapered up, padded up. Let's get on with the show, shall we? So, as you all know, guys, the midterm elections is coming up this year, which means you got half of the House and the half of the U.S. Senate up for re-election this year. So, which means everything's going to be in play this year. That means there are seats in Congress that are up. That means there are people who are going to be facing a fucking damn primary and a fucking election come November. Okay? The one thing the Democrats are going to do this year, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to try to do all they can to get majority seats. That's why you see states like Virginia who are trying to rig the election so they can cheat. Okay? That's why you got blue states like Minnesota, California, Colorado, and the whole entire New England state, except for New Hampshire. They're trying to rig the election so they can get more congressional seats in office. But the one problem the Democrat Party has in this country is they're facing an existential threat to their political party. They're facing a threat that they can't contend with. Okay? That threat is so huge. And it's not the MAGA movement, and it's not the conservative movement. It's the Gen Xers. The Gen Xers, which is what? People like me who were born in 1976 and who lived through the 80s and 90s, ladies and gentlemen. We're the biggest threat to the Democrat Party. Democrats, leftists, and liberal think MAGA, conservatives, right wingers are a threat to them. I don't know. The quiet threat that no one is not talking about, and they're not even saying it, and they know it, and everyone knows it, and a few conservative pundits know this, is the Gen Xers. And I'll give you a reason for this, guys. Gen Xers voted in huge numbers in the 2024 presidential election. Gen Xers were the ones that put President Trump back in the White House. That's why if Gen Xers are pissed off and mad as hell, and I'm sorry about that phone call, guys, so I apologize. But if Gen Xers, guys, are pissed off and mad as hell, I am going to tell you right now, Gen Xers are the ones who are going to vote in large numbers. And when they vote in large numbers, they're going to screw the Democrats over royally. They're going to screw them to no end. And when they screw them to no end, it's going to be a fucking bloodbath. And I tell you why. Think of it this way. Gen Xers like me, we grew up in the 1980s. We grew up in the 1990s. We grew up on before social media. Okay? We grew up on culture that basically was if you had to argue about something, you had to stand on your own ground for it. And And if you try to punch somebody, you were going to get your ass thrown in a fucking hospital with a broken bone. We did things before social media. Today's generation, which is what the Democrats are on, they're all keyboard warriors. They're all like what? They wanna taunt you, bully you, threaten you, intimidate you, cancel you, all from a keyboard. My generation growing up, if you want to say something to my face, you better say it to my face and be prepared to defend what you say. Because back then, if you said shit to my face, you get your ass kicked. And everybody in the neighborhood and the school would know about it by lunchtime tomorrow. But today's generation, oh no. They wanna threaten you, bully you, intimidate you through a keyboard, through a phone, instead of just coming up to your face and saying it. Because you know why? Many of these people are afraid to say it to people's faces. Many of them are so scared to say it that they know that you say it to somebody's face, you're liable to get punched you're liable to get a beat down so badly that you'll probably be in an ER with a broken bone or a concussion to the head. Yeah, that was my generation growing up. That was my generation growing up as a Gen Xer. We were built tough. We were built different. We were built not to be liked. But if you piss us off, oh boy, you're gonna hear it. You're gonna hear how we respond. We don't respond to like, oh, use your words, save spaces, trigger warnings. We don't use that shit. We come from a generation that we use whatever means is necessary. And now that we're aging into our 40s, 50s, some of us, okay, we're like the generation that a lot of the young generation don't know how to deal with Gen Xers. And they don't have a comeback. They don't. Many of us that are Gen Xers, guys, if you piss us off, if you're a politician that pisses us off real badly, we're gonna fucking show up at the polls and then show our disdain and distrust for you and say you're fucking fired, asshole. Pretty much. But yeah, this is why I tell people a lot of people a lot of people don't fucking realize that like our generation is the generation that were forgotten. We were skipped over from boomers to then millennials, Gen Zs, and Gen Alphas. We're the forgotten generation. We're the generation that people forgot we existed, but we were quietly in the back of the corner doing our own shit, minding our own business, and grinding on. We were. But then you got these millennials, ladies and gentlemen. You got these millennials, Gen Zs, and Gen Alphas who are so out there, out loud, proud, and everything. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. But here's the reality of all this, guys. And here's the reality is that Gen Xers like us grew up on a culture that today's generation and today's Democrats don't even have a playbook for, don't even have a response for. We grew up on a generation of watching what? Unsolved Mysteries, 90210, SNL before they ever fucking went woke, In Living Color, okay, Mad TV. We grew up on hip hop music, R&B, that today's generation don't even know how to deal with. So we grew up on all that. We grew up on like Reagan's economy. We grew up on like people getting laid off from work. We grew up on a generation where We had the AIDS epidemic, okay, where we had like people were back then. I'm gonna just say this: back then, if you were gay in the 80s and 90s, you were literally ostracized. You were literally kicked out of your house. You were literally homeless. You were literally living either on the streets or living somewhere else because you openly said you're gay. Yeah, back then. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it's become like what? Passe? Yeah. But back then, guys, man, we did everything before social media. If we wanted to know what was going on around the world, around the globe, we went to the public library and read the New York Times, the Washington Post, you know, the USA Today. We had to do that. We had to, if we had to find something, we Googled it on a card catalog in the library. So yeah, we're a generation that we built the internet and we don't get credit for it. We don't. We largely don't. But you know what? We built everything. But now like this, the 2024 presidential election, we basically put Trump back in the White House. And we said like this, hire Gen Xers. And Gen Xers delivered. I'll give you a prime example. You know Artemis 2, the spacecraft that orbited around the moon and back to Earth? How many of those people do you realize that they're Gen Xers around their 40s and 50s and living in their prime? How many of you not realize that they're Gen Xers like me who are living in their prime and doing their thing? How many do not realize that? How many do not? Because many of them are what, Gen Xers right now who are living in their prime? Yeah. And how many do you not realize that most of the people in the Trump administration are Gen Xers? Like Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, they're Gen Xers. And if you realize this, and then including our vice president, JD Vance, he's a Gen Xer. Have you realized that Gen Xers like me, we get shit done. We we work hard. We don't whine. We don't complain. We don't have a temper tantrum. We get shit done. And when we get shit done, guys, we get shit done royally. Because I tell you this, what people don't fucking understand is that Gen Xers like me get a whole lot done. And we don't get like applauded. We don't get acknowledged, but we quietly behind the backgrounds, we get shit done. And when we get shit done, we don't we don't get applauded. We don't get those participation trophies that what millennials, Gen Zs, and Gen Alphas love so much. We just quietly in the background do your job and get shit done. And that's why what I'm about to say this is that's why Gen Xers get things done. And we don't care about your pronouns, your trigger warnings, or how you identify yourselves, or how you call yourselves. We don't care about that because we grew up on a generation in the 80s and 90s that we got shit done. We didn't complain. I mean, we took the L's and we dusted ourselves off like this, and we just kept on going. We literally did. And that's why, guys and girls, the biggest voting bloc in this country is not the MAGA, not the conservative, not the liberal, not the leftist, but the Gen X. Okay? The Gen X is the biggest voting bloc in this country. We are the biggest, meanest voting bloc that the Democrats are scared of. It'll be like having the biggest nightmare in human history because to Democrats, they have no fucking clue on how to deal with the Gen X voting bloc. They're like name calling, they're canceling, they're like deplatforming and all that. It may work for MAGA and conservatives, but for Gen Xers like me, we don't give a flying fuck about that. We don't give a flying fuck if you cancel us or if you call us every phobic shit in a human dictionary. We don't give a flying fuck. But if you piss us off bad enough, we're gonna show it. And when we show it, y'all gonna hear it. And y'all gonna hear it so much. Because I tell you what, you pissed off your parents in the 80s and 90s, not only is your family gonna hear it, your whole neighborhood's gonna hear it, and your whole fucking town's gonna hear it. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, we Gen Xers put Donald Trump in the White House in 2024. Come 2026 right now in the midterm elections, where you have half of the US House and half of the US Senate, along with what? Governors and legislators in your state that are up for re-election. You piss off Gen Xers so much, we're going to show it at the polls. We're going to come to the polls in numbers that you think that ain't impossible. Give you an example. During the last presidential election, put Donald Trump back in the White House. Put Donald Trump there. I know the MAGA crowd's going to say it's them. I know the conservative crowd going to say it's them. But no, they're quiet behind the scenes, behind the corner, in the shadow. Gen Xers like me put Donald Trump back in the White House because we're result driven. We're a generation that we demand results. We want results, and we want like proven results. Democrats, on the other hand, they just want to throw you a show or basically throw you like a demonstration, but they don't want to produce results. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, the biggest nightmare to the Democrat Party is none other than Gen Xers, because Gen Xers put Donald Trump back in the White House in 2024, and if you piss us off bad enough, like how what Senate Majority Leader Thune is doing right now, piss us off bad enough, we'll replace your ass. We'll literally replace your ass at the poll. That's why Democrats are scared. They're scared shit because they know that they got nothing to come up with against Gen Xers. Because Gen Xers are a generation that we know how to fuck you up so many ways beyond Sunday, like how Chuck E. Schumer likes to say. But we Gen Xers know how to fuck you up. And we've been doing it since the 80s and 90s. And that's why a lot of these like millennials, Gen Zs, and Gen Alpha Democrats, they have no playbook against Gen X. And Gen X is quietly becoming the next biggest voting bloc that's going to scare the living pants, or in my case, the living diapers, out of the Democrats. It's going to scare them. And it's going to haunt them because, yeah, they had a playbook for boomers, but now that Gen X is going to be the newest voting bloc for like what, 15 to 20 years down the road, Democrats have no playbook for Gen X. Sure, they have a playbook for MAGA and conservatives, but for Gen Xers like me, let me tell you something. We're going to be the next voting bloc that's gonna gonna say what goes and what doesn't go in this country, and that's the nightmare that Democrats have. Democrats have this nightmare because they know that they don't have a playbook against Gen X, because Gen X lives by a different set of rules, different set of ethics, different set of code of conduct. And basically, how we grew up back then is how we shaped the worldview. And they don't have anything against it because they never grew up in the 80s and 90s. Okay, they were never born between 65 or 60 to like the 80s. Many of us, like Gen Xers, who were babies during the 80s, were technically Gen X. Okay, I was born 1976, so I was technically considered like a baby back then, but they have nothing against it. They have nothing to go to come as a comeback against us. They have nothing. That's why many of these Gen Xers, many of us Gen Xers guys, we're the voting bloc that the Democrats are scared shit. We're the voting bloc that the Democrats have nightmares over. Sure, they have nightmares over MAGA and conservatives, but we're the bigger, meaner nightmare to the Democrats. And we're the bigger, meaner, louder nightmare that they can't contend, that they can't hold, that they can't say shit about. They can't. But I'm going to tell you this. Come November this year, if you see Gen Xers vote in huge numbers, you'll finally fucking realize that Gen Xers like me are the ones that are really going to tell the Democrats to shut the fuck up, go sit down like a little child, and let the fucking adults come in the room and clean up your mess. That's why Gen Xers like me are a threat to the Democrat Party, because they got nothing to come up against us. We just smack them so far upside the head that the whole fucking neighborhood will hear it, because they know that we're a generation you don't fuck around with. We're a generation that we can fuck you up in so many ways that by the time you figured it out, it's too damn late. And that's why I tell y'all this as a Gen Xer, we're gonna be the voting bloc that's gonna tell the rest of the country how we want it done, because we're a generation that was overworked, overtired, okay, that worked so hard behind the scenes that we fucking collapse, that grew up on MTV, that grew up on, like, let's see, like pop culture music, okay, that grew up on 80s TV shows like what? Magnum PI, like Miami Vice, like 21 Jump Street, like let me see, Beverly Hills 90210, The Simpsons, and all that. Let me tell you something. We grew up on that generation. And that's why we're a generation as a force to be reckoned with, and we're a much bigger threat than the MAGA movement. We literally are. That's why I tell people this is that the Democrats' biggest nightmare is not conservatives or the MAGA movement. It is Gen Xers, and Gen Xers that put Donald Trump back in the White House in 2024. You piss us off bad enough, we'll do the same thing all over again. And when we do, it ain't going to be fucking pretty. It ain't. It literally ain't, guys. But anyway, I want to pivot this to what's going on right now with former Congressman Eric Swalwell, the guy that had an affair with a Chinese spy by the name of what? Fang Fang? Oh my God. Yeah, literally. Oh my God. But here's the thing, guys, and I'm going to ask this question. Where the fuck's the Me Too movement now? Yeah, the Me Too movement went all in with knives going after Harvey Weinstein. So where's the Me Too movement now when this is coming out about Eric Swalwell like sexually assaulting women, drugging them, and raping them? Where's the Me Too movement? Or have they been brought off by the Democrat Party or brought off by their silence? Yeah, makes me wonder, guys, where the fuck is the Me Too movement? Okay, the Me Too movement was supposed to be there for these guys, but now, yeah. And then just recently on Fox News, the women came out that saying what Eric Swalwell did. And you thought Eric Swalwell's connection to the Chinese spy Fang Fang was bad enough? Now finding out that he sexually assaulted women? And the Democrat Party in Congress covered it up for him and even protected him? Here's my stance on this, guys. Every one of those assholes need to go to federal prison. Eric Swalwell needs to be put in orange jumpsuit, needs to be thrown in prison, and needs to be put on a sex offender registry for the rest of his fucking life. To find out that he did this while he was a sitting congressman, and then he had the nerve to tell then prior to FBI Director Kash Patel that he had no right to look into his private files, but wanted to look into the files of everyone else in this country. Foot's on the other shoe, dumbass. Now that Kash Patel is FBI director, oh boy, I can tell you right now, Kash Patel is probably licking his chops, going, "Ooh, revenge is gonna serve sweet on a silver platter on his front desk." Ooh, I'd love to be the fly on the wall when Kash Patel heard that. I'd love to be the fucking fly on the wall. Because if I heard that, I would be like, oh, damn. And I'm telling you, Eric Swalwell's legal issues, it's only getting worse for this guy. And from what I heard, he might be facing criminal charges, both in California and the federal government. This guy is cooked. Either way, this guy is cooked. And then Gavin Newsom now has to run a special election to replace him. Let me see. What other sleazy Democrat is going to get back in? Hope it's not that mentally insane Kim Porter who left Congress. Hope they don't let her back in. Man, she's like mentally insane and schizophrenic for all I know. But I'm gonna tell you this much, man. Eric Swalwell, you're cooked. And then I have this bigger question for y'all. What the fuck is the Me Too movement? I thought the Me Too movement was gonna be there to defend these women, okay? But since it was a Democrat that did this, how does the Me Too movement justify this? I I tell you what, man, I love to be the fly in the wall. Love to hear the backdoor conversations on this because, oh my fucking god, it'll get very interesting in a fucking hurry. It literally would, guys. It literally would. Yeah, it would. But I'm telling you, man, Eric Swalwell is finished. He's finished. He'll never see the light of day. And I heard he suspended his campaign to run for governor of California. Mm. Hmm. I know leftists will try to defend him and say, "Oh, that's nothing. That's nothing." But here's the kicker in all this, guys. That's something. That's something. And yeah, I hope he faces the consequences for his shit. And that's is why I often tell people when Democrats love to accuse you of the thing that they're doing, you know that's gaslighting on a grand scale. You know that's gaslighting. And I'm not surprised that they do that all the time. I am not surprised, but I am surprised that, yeah, that this came to light and the fact that the Democrat Party was defending him, even Nancy Pelosi was defending him, knowing the allegations of sexual assault, and she covered for it. Mm. At this point, there should be a criminal investigation into this. Because if the Democrat Party in Congress knew that Eric Swalwell was doing this shit, every one of them should be criminally liable for it. Because if you knew that someone was committing a crime like this, someone was doing what is technically a crime, and you basically didn't report it, didn't say anything about it, your ass should be liable too. Your ass should be kicked out of Congress as well. Because if you knew that your fellow congressman likes to sexual assault, rape, drug, and mug women, we don't need you in Congress. We don't need your ass in Congress. And if it turns out that you covered for this guy, for this sleaze bag, hell, I'll say this: bring back George Santos. We'll take George Santos back. Yeah, we will. We'll take his ass back. Because we'll say like this: if you covered for this sleazeball and allowed this shit to happen, we'll take George Santos back into Congress as a trade. We'll take his ass back. Because I'm gonna tell you this, guys. The sleaziness that the Democrats have done, wouldn't be surprised if we uncovered more dirt in pencil next shift. Wouldn't be surprised. But you know what? The grift, the fraud, and the sleaziness is about to come crashing down on the Democrat Party. And it's about to come crashing in a worse way. And I'm telling you right now, this is happening what? During the election season? Oh my God. This is why the Democrats are fucked beyond fucked. This is why Democrats are so fucked that, yeah, they're screwed. They're fucking screwed no matter what happens. They are screwed beyond screwed. But I will tell you this, guys. The Democrats, yeah, they're cooked. They're cooked. But I will say this. Yeah, they are beyond cooked. They are beyond fucked up. They literally are. And for Eric Swalwell, don't drop the soap in prison. Don't drop the soap. Because if the inmates find out what you did, don't drop the soap. Okay? Don't drop the soap. But then at the same time, his connection to Fang Fang, the Chinese spy who was trying to get in bed with him, yeah, he's getting what's coming to him, folks. He's getting what's coming. But I'm gonna tell you this, guys, it ain't gonna be fucking pretty, and it ain't gonna be nice. Okay, it ain't gonna be nice. But I'm gonna tell you this, guys. Eric Slowall is cooked. He's done. He's finished. He he screwed himself over. He screwed himself so sky high. It ain't even fucking funny. Okay? He screwed himself to the 10th degree. But the reality of this, is that he screwed the pooch. He screwed the pooch. But I'm gonna tell you this, guys, and I'm gonna say this. Eric Swalwell, you're cooked. You're done. You're done. Hope you like prison, pal, because that's where you might be headed. That's where you might be headed. Oh wow, wow, yeah, that was an interesting, good show, guys. That was pretty much an interesting, good show. I try to get a 45-minute show for you guys because look at what I'm doing now. Okay, I'm working as a case manager. I can't say where because due to privacy and confidentiality rules, I cannot disclose who I am employed with as a case manager. Okay, I can't. That is something I cannot disclose. But my other job with the Coast Guard Auxiliary, yeah, I know that's going to pick up, but due to the Democrats like not willing to fund the Department of Homeland Security because they want to prevent ICE from doing their damn fucking job. Yeah, I'm gonna say like this: is this what you want to hang on while we're in an election cycle, especially the midterms? Is this what you want to go with during the midterm election cycle? Because I'm gonna tell you this: keep this up, because once November comes and the midterm election cycles come, we all know the Democrats are cooked. We all know the Democrats are finished. They are done. They won't even make it. Yeah, we all know. But the fact of the matter is, I'm hoping that we can get the Department of Homeland Security funded and at least get them back working. Because if they don't, midterm elections are coming up in November, Democrats. Is this what you want to run your campaign on? Knowing that you'll probably piss off Gen Xers? Is this what you want to run your campaign on? Yeah, let me know. Let me know. But yeah, if they want to run it like this, oh well. Oh well. Yeah. But anyway, guys. Anyway, yeah, we got a good show today. Hope y'all enjoyed the show. And I'm sorry earlier if my phone rang. I forgot to put it on silent, and because my phone's connected to my MacBook Air, I do apologize in advance for that if you heard the telephone ring. So I do apologize, and and I'll make sure next time that that phone stays silent while we're doing the show. Okay. So anyway, guys. Anyway, I'm gonna end this a little early. Normally, I end this at the 45-minute, but I want to end this a little early because yeah, I have to do a diaper change because yeah, I kind of pooped while doing a podcast show for y'all. So anyway, guys, I want to thank you guys for listening to Nikki's World. I'm Nikki, your host. I will see y'all soon. Bye for now. You just listened to an episode of Nikki's World. Thanks for listening. We'll see y'all soon. Bye for now.